Good morning and welcome to our Monday morning's Hangout show, Surviving the Diagnosis. It's happened to all of us. I'm Sandy Conkar along with Peggy Mangan, and we co-host each Monday morning at 10 a.m. Eastern in the U.S., right here on Google Hangouts. Good morning, Peggy.
Good morning, Sandy.
Peggy and I come together to connect both patients and those who care for them, also known as their caregivers, to enhance communication and understanding that each of us struggle daily with our own roller coaster of emotions and challenges associated with diagnosis. I'm the founder of CaregiverSanity.com and am personally a family caregiver spanning over 3 decades, though I more easily identify myself with the roles of wife, mom, daughter, and friend, just as you might relate to more easily as well. I bring to you a gentle awakening of the importance of your own well-being and self-care, emotionally, physically, mentally, spiritually, holistically, and the steps in how you can easily begin to move through the dark moments of feeling alone, abandoned, and frightened, and into healthful life changes, all the while caring for those who depend on you the most for their care. Peggy is the founder of Joy After Cancer and a 2-time cancer survivor. She brings to you her own understanding of the challenges a patient endures. But more importantly, she brings and shares the steps she has taken to move through the diagnosis and treatments into joy and beyond. She is a registered nurse and the author of the forthcoming book, The Renegade Survivor, From Cancer to Joy and Beyond. Together, we assure you that you are not alone on your journey. We invite you to join us right here from the comfort of your own home and share your stories, your challenges that you are or have experienced. And in turn, we will offer suggestions on how to help reduce and quite possibly eliminate your feelings of frustration, feelings of guilt, even hopelessness. Whatever the emotion or the unrest is that you are experiencing. We will model after such techniques as matrix reimprinting, emotional freedom techniques, also known as tapping, and others. From time to time, we will invite guests to our shows, as we have today, to share their techniques and valuable information, which will help expand your information library, opening doors to infinite possibilities for you to step through in your own time and provide choices that you may not even know you have available to you in this moment. Now, one of the first steps that we'd like to share is to invite you to designate a journal or a notebook for our Surviving the Diagnosis shows and ask you to begin to write down some situations that may have caused some emotional unrest throughout your week. Write down a word or two, just so that when you bring them to the show, it will gently refresh your memory of the situation. And if you would like then to share those topics with us on the show, we would love to invite you to join the panel. Now, just for a little bit of housekeeping before we introduce our guest. If you're watching us globally, we would love to have you hop over to survivingthediagnosis.com to opt in to receive a friendly reminder of upcoming shows. And if you'd like to join the panel that I just mentioned, be sure to, on the drop-down menu, there's an option. I think it is the first option. And in that drop-down menu, it says Speak Live. And by selecting that, you will receive on Monday morning a special link to the show. Okay? As you continue listening and participating with any exercises that we or our guests demonstrate, you are acknowledging that you've read and agreed to our show disclaimers, and those links are at the bottom of our show pages. So I'd like to just begin by saying good morning to Peggy again and introducing our guest.
Good morning, Sandy. Good morning to our special guest. I am so excited. We have Moira Hutchinson on today, and Moira is a Hypno-Chemo Cancer Care Practitioner. That has been a mouthful for me all weekend. But I am so excited to have Moira explain and demonstrate her modality, and she's also going to offer us a guided imagery session that we can all take part in later on in the show. So, Moira, good morning.
Good morning. Thank you so much for having me on the show. It's my pleasure.
Yeah, we're excited.
Thank you. So yes, like you said, Peggy, my modality is called Hypno-Chemo. It's basically using hypnosis as a complementary modality to go alongside whatever treatment is happening for the person. But the other part that's really important about this is that it actually addresses the caregiver's needs as well. Because like Sandy said, it's really important to look at both sides of the journey through. One of the things that I've often said myself is that if I use hypnosis to help somebody who has cancer develop a positive mindset, or develop an imagery, or empower them to feel like they're in charge of their healing journey, and yet the person who's their caregiver, or even just family members too, it doesn't have to be the caregiver, it could be the partner that's witnessing this, but if their mindset is not in a positive, uplifting way, and they're sitting there fearful, that will actually then undermine the hypnosis patient's journey. Does that make sense?
Agree. Yes, I so agree with that, because when everyone isn't on the same page, there's a barrier.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the patient's trying to hold up for the caregiver, and the caregiver is just doing the caregiving and trying to hold up for the patient. Yeah.
Yeah.
I experienced that, and even with siblings and friends.
Yes. You know, one of my clients that I worked with, who she's now 2 years cancer-free, but there is a husband and wife that was friends with her husband and herself, and they were going to her husband and saying things like, when she's passed, we're going to be there for you. And I actually, with my advice, and I really encouraged them to do it, was to fire these friends, because they could, that whole vibe of we're not going to talk about it, but to sort of put that out for the husband was so undermining to my client, you know?
Yes. So I had friends that did the same thing, only not the end situation.
Okay.
But, you know, when they came to the hospital, they would talk to John out in the hall.
Oh, and not you.
And I so resented that. I knew that what they were doing, and I asked him later, and, you know, I'm still here. I'm still in this bed. I'm still alive. And they, yeah, you're right. You're totally right about that.
The really sad thing is that in that instant, what people are thinking is that they're doing it for your highest good, you being the person with cancer, but really they're making it all about them. It's all about their fear and inability to face it. Because, you know, the really sad part of that story I just told you, now I told you the girl that worked with me, she is now 2 years cancer-free, but the last time I saw her, the woman of that couple, they're all in touch with each other again. She has cancer now.
Oh, wow.
And she came to my client and said, now I need help. How did you do what you did?
Yeah.
It was a real fascinating experience to see that.
And that's how just as I said in the intro, that I consider myself the wife, the mom, the daughter, the friend, because
Mm-hmm.
the friend is going through all those challenges as well. And so from my perspective, I work with clients to help them move through that experience while their friend is over here with the quote unquote disease,
Yes.
and I help them through the emotions. So they don't bring that they don't know. The patient could have an up day, and you
Yeah.
come in and go, "Oh, how are you today?"
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that would
Truly.
be, that they would just go, "Mm,"
Yeah.
so that we need to bring that awareness to be, not to just be true to your feelings and work through them, but to be conscious of where each of you are in the diagnosis process.
And in the journey, and I found conversely, if
Mhm.
someone comes in the room and is all bubbly and giggly and balloons flying all over the room,
Yep.
that doesn't fly either.
No. No.
Because this is serious,
Mhm.
and it's a fine line, I suppose. I think neutrality uh, is the best approach. Just kind of be sensitive yet not overly uh, giggly or morose.
No, but it's about being in the present moment and asking the person what they need.
Yeah,
Because what they need in a moment may be a giggly, bubbly experience, you know?
right.
But so it's to really be present, and that's how come I'm saying about the hypno-chemo approach being that you all work through the different stages. For instance, module 1, there's 6 modules in the hypno-chemo approach, but module 1 is called the vent.
Mhm.
And so that's where, as the caregiver, they can bitch and complain. In fact, I had a session with a client on Saturday where what she needed to do was complain and get off her chest the burden of being the caregiver. That
Yeah,
she needed to cuss and swear and just complain and have space to have that happen, because she's never going to be able to do that to her husband.
Mhm.
But
no,
she had to get it off her chest because it really was impacting she how she even looked after herself. She was to the point of she couldn't speak positively about herself because she's stuffing down this. So that's
um,
why that vent process, whether you're the caregiver and you're saying, I have to give up a part of what I thought I was going to be doing at this stage in my life. But then, of course, the person with cancer needs to do the vent too. And oftentimes it's best to do that away from loved ones,
yeah,
because the loved ones are going to say, oh my gosh, I wish I could take that away, or even try and give solutions. There's no solutions at this point other than be real with your emotions.
yeah. Get it out. Get it
Yes,
out.
yes,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Moira, I just want to tell our listeners that they are listening to Surviving the Diagnosis on Google Hangout. And our special guest is Moira Hutchison, and she's talking to you about hypno-chemo. Go ahead.
Thank you. So like I was just saying about the first, so with this modular approach, I get to work with people at whatever stage they are at. So I mentioned like the first one is the venting, but that's usually right when they've just had their diagnosis. Sometimes people will come because they've gone into remission and they're fearful of what's the next chapter, or if back to the story about one of the clients I worked with. She had been given the all clear, but then she was doing things like thinking if she had a glass of wine, oh my gosh, I'm recreating that. And so I get to help people work with their mindset, whether they're in the journey or they've come out the other side, because I think that it's something that impacts your way of thinking.
Mhm.
uh, once you've had the experience, Peggy, you must have something to say about that. Once you've had this experience, it changes your outlook or the way you process life.
Oh, indeed, indeed. Um, Actually, it was quite a trauma at first because I was not expected to live the year out. after my bone marrow transplant. But when I found a practitioner that worked with me with EFT, and we could put that energy down and clear it, things got better. And next thing I know, here I am 8.5 years later, and I'm loving life.
No, you're such an amazing inspiration to so many. But
No,
you know,
yeah, it's amazing though if you get out the other end, and that's where you can be so helpful to people to be there for the what if, and what about this headache, and what about that pain in my leg, and yeah.
But you know, that's the other part about using hypnosis, because that exactly that mindset, the what if this, and oh my gosh, what's that pain, and like I said, oh my gosh, what am I doing if I have this coffee or this glass of wine? You can do something. It's the power of the mind has the power to create anything. And so I'm working with a client right now who actually has a condition where he creates what he thinks about. It's actually a medical issue where it's called somatization, I believe.
Somatization, yeah. When I was in nursing school, a lot of us had that.
I know. I've done different training too. You go down all the lists, like, oh my God, I've got that. Yep.
Yeah, exactly.
So, but the thing is, the cool part is that people who have that and who are good at that are excellent candidates for hypnosis, because they're already proving the power of their own subconscious mind. If you have the strength or the power to create a pain or in your mind's eye say, okay, that's the cancer come back, or it's moved over here, you also have the capability to visualize it disappearing or channeling white light to that place. And so that's what the other part of learning self-hypnosis, which is the part of the process that I take people through too, is that this is not a case of people having to come to see me forevermore. I empower people to tap into the power of their own mind, to take charge. And so, like for instance, I just mentioned about the healing white light. There's a module that I have where I get people to visualize the radiation treatment as being healing white light, as opposed to, and in effect, what that does is help them have more of a positive mindset, but also helps them not get too caught up on what the side effects are, because like that's an important part too, because back to what I was just saying about the power of the mind, it's so talked about, all that, you know, your hair falls out and you lose weight, and the truth is it isn't fun. But if you put all your focus on the bad part, it magnifies. But you have the power to say, okay, I accept I'm going to go through this journey, and that it's going to be okay. Because I think the biggest piece too in all of this is to always be making sure that you're staying in the present moment. Like Peggy, like your story, I think your story is so awesome because for some people, being told you're not going to live the year out, they would actually make that true.
Yes, I'm very aware of that. I have very close had friends that happened to. I might want to tell you that I had another serious cancer about 18 years before this one, and it was fairly serious as well. But I learned guided imagery from Bernie Siegel's book, Love, Medicine, and Miracles.
It's an awesome book.
Yeah, and I did that religiously every day. But prior to that, I had learned self-hypnosis when I was in nursing school, and it helped me to control the test anxiety that I experienced.
Good.
And I knew I could do something with my mind if I wanted to.
Yeah.
That's way back then. It was like, you know, my nursing school partners would say, you know, that was hokey, you know, but when it came time for final state exams, they were listening to my tape too. So I am a full believer in the mind and the power, and that it can possibly heal you.
Absolutely. Well, the thing is I actually think that my own belief is that the mind can heal you from absolutely anything. But here's the caveat, is you have to remove all doubt. And it's that piece that makes it not always cut and dried or clear cut that you're going to do it, right? Because if I say to somebody, all you have to do is visualize yourself healthy and whole and healed, and visualize the cells repairing themselves and the cancer being attacked and leaving the body, that is possible. But there's so much in the media, and there's so much society fear that creates this sort of, I describe it as being like the mosquito sound of doubt, that people will follow a positive thinking process for a certain amount of time, and then they might hear something on the press, or they might hear something from a conversation of, you don't have the power to do that, or if that was how it was going to be, it would have happened by now, or
Right.
do you know what I mean? So it's those are the doubts that then start to undermine, and you actually then end up creating a worse feeling inside yourself.
Exactly, and it's always that little piece and that little voice back there that says, "What are you talking about?
Exactly.
You have a terminal disease. You're not going to live 8.5 years."
Yeah. And what makes you so different? And
exactly.
However, you know, look how it impacted all these other people.
Exactly. I want to just mention right here, Moira, that I wholly believe in medicine, the Western medicine, and the treatments that they have for cancer. My bone marrow transplant gave me time. Time. I didn't have time before I got that. It was too aggressive, and the cancer, and it gave me time so I could think about all this, because when you're going through treatment, it's hard to think about what we're talking about. It's just it's a day-to-day grind, you know. Get your treatment, get sick, get your treatment, get sick. But I truly think there's room for both modalities, and I'm Western allopathic medicine. I'm not going to call it a modality. It's Western allopathic medicine, and we have the alternatives, but it augments and gives a person a chance to incorporate the healing process. Because if, as you probably know, when you're going through that, you are on this hamster wheel of anxiety, and the sympathetic nervous system is just, it won't shut off.
Absolutely.
No. And with Hypno-Chemo, you can do that for people.
Absolutely, and that's brilliantly said, what you were describing there. The Hypno-Chemo approach is definitely not a replacement by any shape or form, and I loved how you put that together so perfectly, that the allopathic way does give you time. It does. It's aggressive, and there's things that are harsh to deal with, but by the fact it gives you time, it allows you to do things. Like, one of the things that I do for people with cancer is I'm an energy worker too, so I integrate that with the hypnosis, and I actually do EFT tapping too, which is how I met Peggy.
Yes.
But it's to get all of those things in place while it's like dialing back the cancer, or the grip that it has on your body. You have to dial it back, and you need help, and that's where the allopathic regimes do their part. But I actually really firmly believe that that's not the only component. That's how come you need to do hypnosis or Reiki or EFT or matrix re-imprinting. They have to come, because that's the best way to then rebuild life after. Because if cancer can be embraced as a gift that it's created for our own higher learning, or it's basically saying something about how you were living your life was not serving you,
Exactly.
right? And so
Or, or
therefore
the, or the messages or the
thought
day-to-day
pattern,
was coming in
yeah,
that was a negative situation for you.
precisely. A
Uh-huh.
negative situation for you, or an accumulation of negativity or anger or anxieties that were buried in your cellular memory that then tipped over, that
Right.
said enough, you can't do this. And so that's how come I think it's so important to integrate alternative ways of thinking, so that if that can be embracing the law of attraction, or getting energy healing, and using it as an ongoing thing, because it can't ever be that's it, you're done, you'll never have that back again. It has to be a mindset and treating yourself on all levels: physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual, and they all need to be addressed at the right level, right? The
Exactly.
right level for you.
Exactly. Well said.
And one of the
Yes.
challenging things that I have found, and you've touched on, Moira, is that when the patient is doing all this work to better themselves and heal and change their mindset, but they still have the friends and the family saying, "Oh, well, you can't do that,"
Yeah.
then it is like hitting a wall. So that's why it's so important that that everyone involved. It's happened to all of us, and we all need to address what our individual emotions are, so we can be supportive of each other and change those learned beliefs.
Mhm.
And I was just recently watching something on one of the news programs, and I had to tap because it upset me, because they said, "Oh, well, that's a bunch of woo-woo." They didn't use woo-woo, but they were just putting down a modality that was helping people with their mindset and saying there isn't any scientific proof. Well, uh, so if somebody is there with that, whether a patient or a caregiver, and they think, "Oh, well, it's coming from a doctor that's saying this," it kind of unravels what we we're we are here to help them with. So it's an uphill challenge for us as well to get that word out. And I think that working together like we are, and getting this information out in by numbers to the numbers, is going to be phenomenal work.
Oh, it's vital. It's vital. We must do it. And I must break in and tell people that we're talking to Moira Hutchison, and you're listening and viewing Surviving the Diagnosis on Google Hangout with Sandy Conkar and Peggy Mangan.
Mhm.
And we're having a very stimulating conversation about hypno-chemo. There you
Thank
go, Moira.
thank you, my dear. I really like what you just said, Sandy, about this kind of mindset needs to be talked about more and more, and people like us do need to group together and help that message get out, because um it's it's sad to think that still people give away their authority, because
Yeah.
the truth is in all the work that I do, it's not me that's the healer, it's the person that's doing it.
Mhm.
Yeah, and so all I'm doing is I'm kind of holding space, or I'm giving ideas or teaching techniques, but it's always designed around lifting your awareness to higher levels, and to higher expectancy of your own self. But it's 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 it gets undermined when people say, I can't decide for myself, or I have to um, submit myself to this diagnosis. The story that I like to tell people is that, and it's not anything like cancer, but um, I broke my arm a couple of years ago, and the specialist told me that I would, with some physio, I would be able to raise my arm to do my hair. That this was all that was going to happen. And I remember when he said that, I thought, how dare you? Was my immediate reaction was, how dare you limit what I can do?
Yeah.
And it was that's how I internalized it. Of course, I can raise my hand right up over my head now.
Yay.
But the only reason I'm saying that is that I think everybody has that ability to sort of hear what the doctors have to say, but then bring it into themselves and say, I'm going to create my own truth.
Exactly.
Because it's so important to still say you are still the driver of your own bus.
That is the huge piece. It's for people to change that mindset that I am the driver of my own bus.
Yes.
The doctor is going to give you information. We will give you information. But this is the great reason why we have you on our show and other guests, because we're bringing that, expanding that information library.
Yep.
So what you feel will work or that you resonate with is what you want to bring in and give it a try, because we're knocking down those barriers, those walls. It's, you may resonate with this modality, you may resonate with that, you may blend them, and that is what's so nice, is because it comes into the uniqueness of the patient or the whoever is in front of you. You know, that they can make choices. And I love that that we're able to expand that information library.
Exactly. And so that's what I like, the idea of you being the driver of your own bus, and checking in to see what resonates with you, because ultimately what's happening is the person with cancer is creating their own circle of support, like their team. When I work with people, I really encourage them to visualize everybody, whether it's me, the oncologist, the naturopath, whoever else they feel they need as part of their team, but they're the boss of it.
Right.
And that's the empowering part. It's not that they are the effect of all of this. They may be very weakened at some point. And I've witnessed people being so weakened that they can't even get out of their bed, which is why I love Google Hangouts and Skype so much, because I've been able to do work like that with people who can't even get out of their bed. That if we can just get their computer at the end of their bed, then we can do some work together. But so I get that it's going to feel like you're disempowered, but if you can get that mindset initially that you are here because I've asked you to be part of my support network.
That is so, so valuable, Moira, what you just said, because having been in that bed, I understand the despair and the well, on a daily basis, you're fighting against giving up. You're fighting against it.
Yes.
And if I had had a person that I could talk to and divulge my fears and concerns, and yet help me arrange them in here to help this heal, it would have been awesome.
Yeah.
But I did eventually, and that was almost a year after my transplant. But your message is vital.
Thank you. Thank you. And it is true. And you know, people like you are so important to be a part of that message, because in effect you did pull through by being your own support network until you found the tools or the support that you needed, because you actually did ultimately, right?
Yes.
But you held on long enough to get that set up.
I did. But I was a miserable person. I was angry.
Yeah.
I was angry. I was anxious. A true case of PTSD. I would have nightmares, and that's what they go through after going through the journey of the testing and the chemo and all of that, and come out the other side, as you say. You come out the other side with PTSD.
You absolutely do. Yeah, I'm glad you said that.
Yeah, you did not have time or the wherewithal to discharge all of that
Yeah.
that you went through.
Yeah. And that's back to the approach that I use, is that this is not, like, I do help people get into a positive mindset, but I do not allow them to pretend or kind of gloss over that negativity or that anger, because you have to let it out. Whether it's having a rant or writing things out and burning it, or whatever's the right way, that's a crucial part of the moving forward, is to feel the negative emotions and allow them to come through and ground them out in whatever methodology works. Because and then it's almost like once you do that, it almost creates a void that you can then put in love and light and healing and positivity. But you can't just slap positivity all over it and say, there you go, that, you know.
You must feel it here. You must feel it in your body and your mind. And
Yes.
and really, I mean, the two are one. The
Yes.
two are one. And when you finally get it that the heart and the mind are your partners, and we're gonna do this, guys, and
Yes.
bring it all together, it works wonders. I'm not going to
Yes.
say the M word.
But I believe too, I mean, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, that in heart math, they have found in their research that the heart speaks to the mind. So the
That's right.
heart is the first brain,
Yep.
and the
Yes.
brain is the second. And
Yes.
it's so
Yeah.
reversed. You think, oh, your brain is telling you what to do. No, because if you really think about it, your
It's your
heart,
heart. Yep.
your heart, you know, in your heart, this is a bad situation. You know, in your heart, this is a good situation. Because there's times that just as an example with the tornado the other night, I knew in my heart that, okay, we've got bad weather, but it's okay. We're going to be fine. We are fine, you
Mm-hmm.
know.
Mm-hmm.
But and I had to eventually turn off the the weather map, because they kept saying, "Oh, it's coming your way." You know, take cover. And I don't want to dismiss the importance of the warnings, but it was like, I mean, by the time you got done, that sucker was going to be hitting your house.
Yeah.
You know, but I knew in my heart that I was okay.
Yep.
So yeah, the heart is, even in illness.
I'm really glad you brought that up, Sandy, because the truth is, and I'm familiar with that research, that the magnetic field of the heart is way, way bigger than the mind. Unfortunately, in the Western world, we don't live life like that. We give priority to what's going on in the mind. The thing is that the way you get what the intelligence that you just talked about is by staying in the present moment. So you can listen to all the fear and all the alerts and guidance that's outside, but you can take a deep breath and sit into your heart and say, all is well right now.
Right.
And that's the place where you feel it's like you're connecting with the vibrations around you. So this is a really good example of, you can do this with any form of ill health too, or diagnosis, or labeling of what the condition is that you're going through. You can actually take all of that information and almost like package it up and then just sit with it to say, how does it land here in my heart? And the communication that you talked about is actually through our vagus nerve, which it's the communication between the heart and the mind.
Yes.
And there's ways that we can actually strengthen that loop to come back into the heart. Because what will happen is, everybody in this life, it has intuition. We have that communication happening with our heart. But the communication through that vagus nerve loop is cut off because we've been so conditioned to listen to the yeah buts and the oh my gosh and oh this is terrible and the sort of the fear mongering, the generalizations and the group think, that we've forgotten we have the right, back to that idea, we are the driver of our bus. We're not attached to other realities. That's not to say that other people are wrong. It's just that if it's not right for you, you get to choose and say, no, I'm taking this detour because this is the one that resonates with my heart.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And speaking of which, are you going to do a demo for us? And
Yes.
Yeah. And I think, though, that before we do that, because we're running a little bit longer, and I don't want to break in for Moira, we'll just do our little spot here and talk about you're listening to survivingthediagnosis.com, and that Moira Hutchison is our guest today speaking about Hypno-Chemo, and she's going to do a guided visualization. And if you would like to opt in for the replay, if you haven't already, please go over to survivingthediagnosis.com /Moira and just opt in, and you will receive that replay link in as soon as we get, well, a little bit after we get offline, off air. So we'll just go ahead then, Moira.
Excellent. And so when I do visualizations, people can listen to them sitting or lying down. You should never listen to anything like this when you're doing something like driving or doing anything that requires your full conscious awareness. And you can choose, it's nice when you can close your eyes because that actually allows you to go inside. But sometimes people aren't that comfortable with closing their eyes. But that's my little way to set that up. So just take a nice deep breath and out. Let tension go out of your shoulders. Breathe in and out. And once more, breathe in and out. And in your mind's eye, I'd like you to imagine that your body is a clear vessel. A clear vessel that's now open to healing and cleansing. You have deactivated all of your defenses, and you're now starting to consciously open yourself to the process that we're going to do now. This process that will progressively heal and cleanse every part of your body. Still with that nice deep breathing, and just visualize a healing liquid. It's a healing liquid being poured into your body, starting from the top of your head. And imagine that green fluid, it's a bright green in color because this color has been long associated with life, energy, and healing. And let your body and mind relax as that healing liquid travels down through your body. And as it passes through every part of your body, visualize that it's quickly healing and closing damaged tissues and cells. If there's tension and inflammation, the healing liquid will ease the tension and reduce the inflammation. And if there's disease anywhere in your body, it's carrying away the disease because you have consciously attracted healing at such a deep level. As the healing liquid moves down your body, you feel warm, relaxed, and light. You feel happy and content with what's happening right now. And just think of how the healing liquid is carrying away negative elements from your body. Chemicals, toxins, free radicals, anything that does not support your highest level of health. Every negative element residing within your body is being shifted away, scrubbed away by this green healing fluid. And as it reaches the bottom of your feet, openings will allow the healing liquid to drain, carrying with it inflammation, disease, stress, toxins. You're now feeling healthier than before, and that feels good, knowing that you made a conscious choice. You made this decision because you genuinely feel good inside. You're becoming healthier and healthier. And as time goes on, you'll continue to feel healthier as time goes on. And now that you've been introduced to this simple visualization, just know that you can come back into this whenever you need to. Whenever you feel stressed, tense, or fearful, just come back to this space and invite that clear green healing fluid to cleanse, clean, nourish, and refresh your body. Just enjoy this powerful feeling, knowing that you created this for you. It's done by you, for you. And so taking another deep, refreshing breath as you allow all the green fluid to finally clear out your body completely, out down through the soles of your feet, down into Earth's core. You can slowly bring your awareness back to where you're sitting or lying. Feel the air on your skin. Feel your environment around you. And when you're ready, you can gently open your eyes, feeling calm, refreshed, and revitalized.
I didn't want to.
You wouldn't believe how many times people say that.
Yeah, I'm sure. I want to stay there, Moira. That was delicious. And I will definitely use that in my visualizations.
That's a nice one, isn't it?
It is. And my meditation, I'll just bring that green fluid and let it do its work. Oh, and I almost forgot, and I certainly want to get this in, Moira. Moira's written a book, and it's gone to proof now. Mm-hmm. And the name of the book is Get Your Life on Track Without Jumping Off the Train. And I love that title.
Me too.
Is it around your work, the body of the message?
It is, yeah. It's around the inner wisdom, tapping into your inner light. It's based on my story initially. I was in a cult when I was really young, and so it's my story of being stuck and giving my power away, and the lessons I learned, and the jumping off the train part is actually how I got out. Is I actually really did jump out of a train.
I remember that. You told me that a few
Yeah,
years ago when we
I
met.
did. Yes,
Yeah.
and so my goal is I don't want people to do anything that radical.
Wow, amazing. You are just simply amazing.
Thank
That,
you.
that sounds like a great book, and I hope you'll let me know when it comes out.
Yes, like I said, I've got the proof on order now, and so it will be probably middle of April is when I'm looking at actually having that available
Wonderful,
In
wonderful.
print, in print in the
in
middle of
print.
April?
Yeah,
Awesome. Oh,
yeah.
okay. Wow, that's quick. Yeah.
Well, it's been a project for quite some time now. It
Yeah.
was supposed to.
Yes,
My original goal was end of March, but you know, time shifts.
it does, and
Yeah.
and things happen. And I am also writing a book, but I came to the awareness just yesterday when I was plunking away on it that I wouldn't have written this had I not gone through this experience a month ago
Right.
or 2 months
Yeah.
ago.
Yeah.
So it's evolving, but I must get it out.
Yeah. You must be close to getting yours done though too, eh?
No, I'm almost finished with the first draft.
Good.
So
And that's really good though. So I think it's a time to get these messages out to those who are just starting out and they don't know where to turn.
yeah,
Absolutely. That's where my book's not specifically about any kind of illness. There's so many people can relate to my story of being stuck or giving power away to something or someone else. And that's the intention. Excuse me. The intention is to help people really get in touch with their own core. Get into that
right.
heart, like we're saying, trust your heart more.
Oh, I do want to read your book.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Well, we are nearing the end of our show, Moira, and I wish we could just continue on because I just love the gentleness in your voice and just the passion that you have for your work. And is there any last minute quick things that you would like to mention here that I will say that we're going to have your page up shortly after the show with the resources that you've mentioned and links. So if there's anything that you'd like me to link to, just let me know and we can share with the audience now.
Okay, well, my website for more information on the Hypno-Chemo is www.hypnosisforcancercare.com. And I'm not sure, Sandy, if you got that I actually was offering a guided meditation audio for your listeners, so that'll be available on the page. Is that right?
That is right. That
Okay.
link will go up shortly. Yes.
Yeah.
That
And
will
so
link.
that's a wee bit longer than what we did. It actually what it is a guided meditation for pain management. And it's one that I often give to people to listen to in between sessions for, it can be any kind of pain, but the visualization actually really helps you kind of go right inside the pain and then kind of come out, which to have sort of like a 10,000-foot view of it and help you sort of disassociate a wee bit from the pain, because sometimes it's so empowering when you're going through pain that you think that's you.
Yes.
And so that's what the intent of that visualization, that meditation, is to help you kind of distance yourself a wee bit and realize that you are the I that is witnessing this, and you don't have to get so stuck in it.
Wonderful.
So,
Thank
yeah,
you so much for that.
my pleasure.
I
Yeah, I
think
hope that
that
helps.
the very good, the good message is that you are the driver of your bus.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes.
And that there are many options, and again, shows like ours and the work we do, the work that you do, is allowing you, the listener, our clients, just to know there are choices.
Yes.
That's
There are choices, and there is loving support, and yeah, you just have to allow yourself to be guided by your own wisdom is out there guiding.
and you're not alone.
Yes,
that
that's
is,
a very important part.
And you're not alone, and that's so wonderful. Sandy says it every week to our listeners, but believe me, that is such a powerful thing to incorporate into your thoughts when you are going through treatment and very frightening, waiting for test results. And it's not only just a few words, it really resonates in my heart. You're not alone.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
no, there's
That's
somebody
something
out.
that I've often said about is that at the point of impact of any kind of pain or trauma or negative experience, right at that point, we do feel like we're alone. And so
Yes.
that's part of the work that I do, is to actually help people overcome that sense of abandonment. Because
Yes.
it's there, it's locked in. You may not consciously say, yeah, I felt abandoned, but you do get that depth of, I am alone and I have to deal with this horrible
Yeah.
experience or pain.
Yeah, because
Yes.
too, it's like when things just begin, there's so many people around you for support, and then one
Mhm.
by one they get back to their lives,
Right.
and you are still here,
Yep.
and so your
On
life
that
has
journey.
changed. Yeah, you're on that journey, and it's your life changed in a split second.
Yeah.
It just, my son used to say in the beginning that my life did a 180, just like that.
Yeah.
And it was of our lives that did the 180.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and
Yes.
people that are friends of ours, they're still friends of ours, but they couldn't quote unquote handle it.
Yes.
They didn't know how to relate. There were times that we found that we were comforting them because because they were just so distraught.
Yes.
Again, I would not be doing what I'm doing had it not been for my son's accident.
Yeah.
At least in this form that I'm doing it. We'll say that. Who knows what the universe would have had, but because I'm a helper, but it's the energy work that I was doing got shifted over to working with the caregivers and the patients, and even the professional caregivers need this so desperately
Yes.
because of
Yes,
the
they
Mhm.
do.
trauma that they go through daily. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
but
Yes.
but
No.
again, I really want to thank you, and your link is at survivingthediagnosis.com/Moira, and that's M as in Mary, O-I as in India, R as in Robert, A as in Apple. Survivingthediagnosis.com/Moira. And the links and the resources will be up shortly after the show. And I would also like to mention about, on the topic of support, that survivingthediagnosis.com/membership is our new membership community called Freedom and Peace, Understanding the Effects of Diagnosis. And currently we have a special going on with $40 off the regular price for only $27 a month. And you'll meet with Peggy and myself bi-weekly, and we will have guests such as Moira and others come on occasionally and just go a little bit deeper in the work that you are needing, or that you feel that you want to just move this negativity up and out. So again, that's over at survivingthediagnosis.com/membership. And
And we'll be opening that up like tomorrow, right? Tomorrow is the beginning of the mentorship and all that.
yeah, the first Tuesday of the month is the first bi-weekly, and then the third Thursday of the month is our other group. Yes, thank you.
Hmm.
Yeah, that is beginning tomorrow. So
Yes.
It's
hop on
exciting.
over
Good for you.
and get on there. So, and if you would like to be a guest on our show like Moira has, just again reach out to us at hello@survivingthediagnosis.com, and Peggy and I would love to schedule a chat with you. And as always, we'd love to tell you that you are not alone. Your dreams and desires are always within you and within reach, and you can choose to live in freedom and peace. Have a great week, everyone. Bye-bye. Thank
And
you.
we are
Bye.
right here with you. We're right here with you every week.
Yeah. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.